My husband just came out as straight. So we've been married for like 3 years and dated for about 2. In total, 5 years of a gay relationship. We are 2 men, have always been 2 men, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. My husband and I have had a rather healthy relationship for the most part. Of course, we have minor arguments every now and then, but what relationship is perfect? In the end, we always resolved them, and our affection would continue as normal. This is kinda why I'm really confused by what's going on with us. Why now? I'm a Christian. I know a lot of people don't like the idea of that, but gay Christians do exist. My husband was agnostic, not necessarily an atheist, just wasn't completely on board with any religion. And that's fine. I would have supported him if he found peace in literally anything. He didn't need to become a Christian, and honestly, as selfish as this sounds, I wish he didn't. I know this makes me sound like a terrible person, but he changed so drastically afterwards, and I miss the man that he used to be. It was a slow start. He asked me about verses from the Bible, we went to church, he even fasted for Lent. Christmas this year was much more than just presents, and I was happy that I had this piece of me to share with him now. I was raised religious and struggled with my identity. If it weren't for other queer Christians, I would have left Christianity. I was glad that I still had these things that we could bond over, but it kept ramping up. All of a sudden, he's going to church more than I am, which is perfectly fine. Is always carrying a Bible with him, and will randomly cite a verse when we're having a political discussions. I've noticed that his views have started to shift towards the right as well, and recently he retweeted someone saying, "Your body, my choice." You're a twink. Women's reproductive rights don't concern you in the slightest? It kept ramping up. He started agreeing with the whole LGB minus the T crowd and started spewing harmful rhetoric about drag queens, as if we aren't friends with a bunch of them. When I told him that drag queens are much less likely to harm children than some pastors, he lost his shit saying that I was a heathen and that his friends were right. This is the part that caught my attention. What friends? I asked him what he meant by that, and he started backtracking, saying that he was tired and that we should go to bed. I was tired, and arguing didn't seem like it would do us any good right now, so I put a pin in it, and we got ready for bed. Our room has a bathroom connected, and usually we keep the door open. He takes a shower and makes sure to lock it, which was weird, but I didn't say anything about it. If he wants to set this boundary down, that's fine, but he could at least communicate it, you know? The next day is a Sunday, and he's already out of bed, and I'm assuming at church. I get up and got ready, but once I arrived, I realized he wasn't there. That confused me, so after the service, I called him asking him where he was. He tells me he's in church, but I told him that I was here too and I didn't see him. He clarifies he means the other, I'm not going to say the denomination because I don't want to cause any arguments, church. This was news to me, especially because he never brought it up and still carried our Bible. I told him to send me the address and I'll pick him up so we can get brunch, but he tells me that he doesn't want his friends seeing me. That hurts. I asked him if we could at least meet up, and he said he'll see me at home. After a few hours, he finally comes home. He said we need to talk, and I agreed. I wanted to ask him why he didn't want his friends seeing me, and as I opened my mouth to ask the question, he said, "I'm straight." I stared at him for a bit and he continued, explaining that his church helped him realize he wasn't going to see the kingdom of God if he continued living in sin and that he needed to leave me as soon as possible. He told them about the pastor comment that I made last night, and they said that I was a devil trying to lure him away from Christ. He started repeating a lot of the same rhetoric that I heard from other Christians growing up, and it really upset me. He even said that I could be saved, and that I already had the traditionally masculine look, and that I just needed to steer away from homosexuality. I feel like I'm in an alternate reality right now. I'm being told by the love of my life that I'm a devil that needs to return to Christ because I shut down his homophobic rhetoric. My gay husband is being homophobic. I'm sorry, but not once in the 5 years that we've been together did he realize he was suddenly straight. It just doesn't work like that. It's not like we're in some other universe where comp homo is a thing, right? I told him that he needed to leave and that we could discuss arrangements afterwards. I still want him, I love him, but I have no idea how he could look at me with a straight face, and tell me all of that. He started arguing, saying that he didn't want to leave and that we could be friends. So I told him that I wouldn't be friends with a self-hating queer for the life of me. He packed a bag and he left. His location shows that he's at some random house that I've never been to, but I assume that's one of the churchgoers that he's friends with. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do from here. Did I seriously just lose my husband? I don't understand how this could happen. What can I do now? I miss him already. In the comments, Blue Boy Dragon says, "Dude, the best thing you can do is let him go. This is a really tough situation, but it's past your control. Do yourself a favor and let him leave. He's not worth it. You deserve somebody who loves you for you." Agreed. The worst thing that OP can do is try to force it. There is no changing someone's mind on these things. Yeah, it sounds like he's in a cult now. Totally a cult. He didn't join a church, he didn't find God, he's in a cult, and it's disgusting. OP, is he close to his parents? Are they accepting of him? Call them. Call all of your mutual friends. Maybe he can be pulled out of this. I'm not sure you'd want to continue with him, but other people need to know who he is. Also, make copies of your marriage certificate. I'm willing to bet that he's told his new friends that he's always been straight and you're trying to change him. A copy of the marriage certificate and some pictures of the wedding and your last 5 years ought to make them turn on him. Maybe they'll throw him out. It might make him see sense. Lady Lovecraft says, "The only thing you can and should do right now is think about your safety. Install cameras, make sure a trusted friend or family member can access those at all times as well, and give them access to your location. Do not go out alone. Go to different grocery stores at random and take different routes to work, the gym, etc. It sounds to me like your husband has gone off the deep end, and it wouldn't surprise me if he would try to harm you, or worse. I could see him and the other right-wing religious nuts that he hangs out with create a fantasy that you made him gay and should be punished for it. Save all the messages and emails, and I would try and get a restraining order out as soon as you start to feel unsafe and/or if he starts threatening you. Even if you don't get the restraining order, there's going to be a paper trail. Speaking of paper trails, if you have someone close to you that you can trust, make sure they check in on you often. If you usually get home at 6, let them know that you are home. If you're going to go shopping, let them know. Always keep your location on. Change all of your passwords, make sure your bank account is private and secure, make sure your husband can't access your location, social media, emails, etc. If it is at all possible, can you temporarily stay with someone that you trust? Even better, someone your husband doesn't know the location of. OP replies, "I don't think he'd try to physically hurt me. I'm stronger and we're Canadian, so we don't have to worry about firearms, as drastic as that would be. I will try to find someone to stay with though. I don't like sleeping in our bed alone. I just don't know how to tell our friends. I know they've noticed the changes too, but this all just sounds insane." I don't even know what you do in a situation like this, but I definitely think distancing yourself from him is the safest thing to do. And taking all of that advice and actioning it. The world's a bit of a crazy place right now, and you don't need to unnecessarily put yourself in harm's way if you can avoid it. I'm scared myself to think about what these people will do to him if and when they realize he is a gay man and has been gay and married for the last 5 years. That is a scary thought. And now, onto the update, 5 days later. Thank you to everyone who gave me genuine advice on my last post. I'll quickly answer some common questions. No, he does not have a family history of bipolar disorder or any other mental health disorder that would cause sharp changes. No, he isn't cheating on me with one of his church friends, but I will get more into this later. No, he isn't bi. I'm bi, and we've had conversations, and he said that he experimented in high school, but it wasn't for him. I talked to his family and our friends about the whole thing. I explained that we were separating because of his newfound faith and how he is acting. I told them about the shit that he said, and they're all worried for me. I don't think that I'm in any sort of danger, honestly, but I did talk to my church about this, and they told me that the church that he's attending is notorious for this sort of thing. One of them will show up after a service and wait outside, and if someone is walking out alone, they'll come up to them and start chatting. They'll pretend they go here until they've talked to the person enough times to invite them to their church. Apparently, he was attending my church even on days where I wasn't, so he was alone a lot. It is really effing predatory, and it low-key pisses me off that he was enjoying my church, and it led to him being taken away from me. I've had limited contact with him in the past few days. He came over last night, saying that he needed to talk to me. He didn't appreciate me contacting his parents, and assured me that he is fine mentally. I wanted to start asking all the questions that I've come up with since he left, but I didn't want to overwhelm him. I know he didn't cheat on me because that was the first question I asked. More so, are you leaving me because there's somebody else? His response was that he didn't want to leave me, but living in sin isn't what he wanted anymore. How did he figure this out, you ask? After grilling him for an explanation, he finally admitted that he tried to cheat. The guy who kept coming to my church and basically recruited him was apparently so attractive that he would listen to anything that he said. So he tried to cheat, failed, and went the full 180 and has decided that being gay is the ultimate sin. Not the fact that he tried to have an affair. This is actually going to drive me crazy. Finding out he wanted to cheat but didn't is almost worse, because it's like, seriously? You tried and got rejected? That's embarrassing as shit for you, and doubly embarrassing for me. I asked him if they knew that he was married to a man, and he simply told them that I was his gay roommate who turned him, and now that he's straight again, I've gone off the deep end. He's an actual fucking liar. He's showed me some Bible verses, ones that were just blatantly different from the ones in mine, and kept trying to convince me that I need to change too. He said that he still cares about me and wants to be friends. I asked him what about our actual friends, and he said they're too far gone. He just kept talking, and I was done with it. He isn't the man that I fell in love with, and it pisses me off. He wasn't even dressing the same anymore. Fucking white dress shirt and slacks, and the most boring hairstyle ever. He didn't look like my Anthony. The more he talked at me, the more it was clear that I didn't want to be with the man that he is now. He left, and for the second time in our life, he walked out that door without saying I love you, and I was fine with that. This morning, I talked with my lawyer, and I'm going through with the divorce. After I was done, I stopped by where he was staying and knocked on the door, half wanting whoever owned the place to be there when I gave him the papers, half because I didn't want him coming to my home anymore. When the man opened the door, I realized this is who he was talking about, and it took a bit to keep my anger in. I asked for my husband, and when he saw me, the look in his eyes made it clear that he wasn't expecting this out of me. I made it clear to the other guy that I was handing my husband, my gay husband, divorce papers to end our marriage, the gay one between two men. Us. We are the two men, because I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you wake up next to a man for 3 years out of your life, chances are you're a homosexual. Sorry to break it to you. I won't be able to go into the details of the proceedings themselves, but I'm going to completely distance myself from him as best I can. His actions have been horrible on my health, and his family and friends can handle him better than I can. I'm going to miss the man that he used to be, but I have my people surrounding me. I'm going to be okay. I hope that for his sake he will snap out of this one day, because the self-hatred isn't healthy, but when he does, I won't fucking be there. In the comments, Take a Break 128 says, he is not straight. He's gonna marry some dumb church lady and hit up Grindr like the rest of the hypocrites. So glad that you got your side of the story out there, because he's painting you as a villain in his. So on brand for these cults. My condolences. Better is out there waiting for you. OP, as the trope goes, no one is more zealous than a convert. You may have known people who quit smoking or drinking and suddenly become super judgy about others doing those things. So for him, it's this religious thing, and presumably some of the guilt that might come with it if he's not attending a more inclusive church, which is a thing that exists and probably should be where you're attending services. It's unfortunate that this is where he's at, but if he's going through with a divorce, it's in your best interest to get over with it and move on. It's not easy, but you can do this. The sooner you get your mind around the marriage being over, the faster you'll be on the road to recovery. So sorry this happened to you. And Vegan Vampire Bat says, I'm so sorry you're going through this. You were married and he was acting like a person having a mental break. It was totally within your rights to call his parents. He will end up marrying some poor woman from the church and cheating on her constantly. I hope you meet a nice person who you can build a better life with. I just want to know what's going to happen to him now that they know that he is gay. That's one that I don't have too much information on. I feel like everyone knows that, he just goes and marries someone and cheats. That's been repeated ad nauseum, but are they going to cover that up and be like, hey, I know that you're gay, but you're not gay anymore and we're going to convert you. We're going to set you up with a nice, devout woman and it's going to be great. I don't know about all that, but hey, good luck to him, I say. And thank God you got out of there when you did, OP. I'm glad that you're not in danger. Thank you for the story. Our next post is by user ThrowRA2007X, titled, My 18 female, pregnant sister, 26 female, thinks that I was insensitive after I didn't accommodate her chair preferences. Can I get advice, please? So it was my grandma's birthday last Sunday, and my parents hosted it at our house since it's the biggest and can accommodate all of our extended family. I have 2 older siblings, my sister 26 and my brother 29, but they're both out of the house now. Both of them married, and my brother has a little boy who is 2 and my sister is 7 months pregnant. Dad and I got up early at 5 a.m. to help my mum with all of the setting up and the food prep because there was going to be around 20 people coming over plus kids. We removed the fancy dining room chairs and placed them up in my bedroom because Mum was worried about the kids getting stuff on them. It happened before and was a mother fricker to clean. And we replaced them with the regular chairs that we have for events like this one, but we did leave out 2 of the fancy ones downstairs for my grandpa and grandma since they're both elderly and they would be more comfortable for them. No one batted an eye at this when they came over, but my sister had a frown on her face but didn't comment. By the way, it wasn't the first time the setup was like this, and no one has a problem with it. Anyway, by the time my parents and I sat down to eat with everyone at 2 p.m., we were dead on our feet and I just wanted a nap. After the lunch and clearing up the tables, everyone was scattered around the house, a lot of them were watching the kids outside, and I was helping my grandma to the bathroom. When we came back, my sister was sitting in Grandma's chair, and when she saw us, she got up in a huff and commented that we should have kept all the fancy chairs downstairs. I told her why we didn't, but she just rolled her eyes. After a bit, I was helping my mum bring out dessert, and my sister was sitting on a regular chair, and she sighed loudly and asked me to go upstairs and get her one of the fancy ones. I just looked at her and ignored her because by that point, I had a headache, I was bone tired, and was ready for the whole day to be over. She got up and followed me and told me again, and I told her that again, it was Mum's decision, take it up with her. She didn't want to. My brother, who was also helping at that point, also told her to drop it because he could see my annoyance. She did not like that and told him to stay out of it. After the cake was cut and pieces were making rounds, I sat down to eat my piece, only to have her take it away and ask me again, holding it hostage as if I were a kid. I suppressed the urge to smash it in her face and told her that they're in my room, have her husband go get her one, and to leave me the fuck alone. If it gets dirtied by the kids, then it's on her to explain to Mum. She perked up at that, but asked me to go get it since he was eating cake. I was done. I got up, kissed my grandma and grandpa on their cheeks, excused myself from everyone, and went up to my room and locked my door. My brother-in-law tried going up after like 15 minutes to go get the chair, but I turned a deaf ear to his knocking. The next day, I got a text asking why I tattled to Mum when all she wanted was to be comfortable and I was being insensitive at our grandma's birthday. Funny thing is that I didn't tell Mum because she had enough on her plate. It was my brother. And my mum had apparently had a talk with her because of it. Even though it happened days ago, I'm still annoyed, but I also feel a little bit guilty and think that I overreacted a bit. In the comments, Eorex says, "Love to you for helping grandma to the bathroom. Being pregnant is uncomfortable, but if the chair she was sitting on was so uncomfortable, a quiet word with Mum about getting a different chair is what she should have done. Hey Mum, my back is killing me these days. You mind if whatever his name is goes upstairs and gets me one of the other chairs?" Oh, come on, that's too simple and mature of an answer. She probably knew that her mum wouldn't like it, say no, or make a fuss, so thought that harassing the teenager was better for her. Yeah, I'm worried if she cannot speak up now, how is she going to handle kids? They are demanding, and you need to be able to advocate for them and yourself. Well, it's not that she couldn't speak up for herself. She was just using the chair as a way to make her younger sister do her bidding. Total power play. Why did she not ask her husband to get the chair from the start? Why was that responsibility placed with you instead of him? I would fill your sister in that her tantrum was witnessed by many, and you weren't the one who tattled to your mother. You didn't overreact. Her behavior was entitled and rude. Well, because it wasn't about her comfort, it was about messing with OP. I, for one, think it's time to revisit the dynamic of your relationship with your sister, OP, and start setting up some tough boundaries. You were nothing but reasonable here. You went above and beyond reason to kind of settle what the hell she was starting. But she was having none of it. She continues to not see reason, and she tries to, say that you tattled to your mother. Oh, I'm sorry for standing up for myself. I didn't know that was a crime. I'm sure there's good reason for those chairs not to be out in the first place either. I'm sure she understands why those chairs wouldn't be out for her. She's just being a see you next Tuesday. She's looking for a fight. Who knows what's going on in her head, but that is not your circus and not your monkeys. I'd just block her for like a week or two, or even a month, and let her deal with her shit if I were you. And now, onto the update. Hey Reddit, it's been a while, and since I was asked for an update, I thought that I'd give one. Not much has happened, but I did learn some new information regarding my mum and sister. So, after I got the message and spoke with my parents, I decided to send her a blanket apology. Just, "I'm sorry" to her message, because I didn't want it to become a thing between us after I move abroad, and I wanted to leave with a clean slate. Mum and Dad threw me a going away lunch with just our family, siblings and spouses, and this is where it got a bit weird. Usually, we'd sit in the dining room since it can accommodate 8 people on the dot, 7 adults and toddler nephew, which Mum swaps out his chair for a regular event one, but we sat outside this time with regular patio chairs. Mum claimed that it was because it was sunny, but she doesn't like the sun and had Dad set up an outdoor umbrella. Anyway, she didn't let me lift a finger this time and made that very clear when my sister and brother-in-law showed up. It all read pettiness to me, especially since my sister made a comment about the chair that she was in, and my mum told her that it's what's available in a very try-me tone. My sister did not try her, but she also scowled through most of the lunch and refused to interact with my nephew, claiming she was tired, although all he was doing was showing her his crayon doodles. She was very abrupt with him and raised her voice, which pissed my brother and sister-in-law off, and my brother refused to hand her anything for the rest of the day. I realize how dysfunctional we sound, but oh well. It's what I was born with, and I'm thankful for everyone regardless. Once everyone left, I asked Mum what that was all about, because it wasn't subtle at all, and that's when Mum told me what's been happening with her and my sister. Mum had offered to help my sister out for a month when she gives birth, and my sister had agreed, but then she changed her mind because her mother-in-law is coming instead. Mum was fine with that, although I think she was a bit hurt, but she moved on. Then, my sister didn't like that I'm moving a whole country away, although she's known that I was since before she became pregnant, and she complained to Mum. Mum shut her down because it's my decision and my life. Then she started asking Mum to come clean her house because she was tired, and Mum did go after her work a couple of times a week for like 3 weeks. Not consecutive, but then she realized that it was becoming a pattern, so she stopped. My sister had also been asking her to send homemade food and such since she was getting nauseous when cooking, but it was also a pattern, so Mum stopped. My sister complained about Mum sending my nephew a monthly plate of his favorite cookies, family recipe, and sister-in-law doesn't make it right, confirmed by my nephew spitting out every batch that she attempted and wagging his finger at her. So it was basically tiny things that built up and had pissed her off after Grandma's birthday. Is her behavior weird? Yes. Is Mum's any better? Probably not, and neither is mine for that matter, but I've accepted it, and I'm just glad that I won't have to deal with it at all, unless it's on a major holidays now that I'm in another country. As someone pointed out in my DMs, the baby will need a good luck, Charlie. In the comments, Off Kira says, your age and your sister's really seem switched. She acts like an immature teenager, and you seem like a perfectly normal, to me, 26-year-old, which probably speaks to deeper issues in your family dynamic. You did nothing wrong, and yeah, all the luck to this kid because damn. Gosh, reading all this, I think I stand by my assumption in a last post that your sister wants to be babied and taken care of during her pregnancy, has high expectations. Her husband isn't meeting them, so she's outsourcing the issue, or taking out the issue, onto her other support people. It wouldn't surprise me if your sister doesn't threaten to take baby access away from your mum if she doesn't babysit on command. It sounds like she may have wanted you to be an on-tap babysitter too, or she's jealous that you're doing something that she can't. People like your sister annoy me. They make pregnancy an illness. Everyone should bow to their demands. What she's doing and had done to your mum is awful. She's wanting servants, not parents. Good for your mum for having your back. Look, I won't say that pregnancy is not incredibly demanding of you physically, emotionally, and mentally, but it doesn't excuse or explain at all this see you next Tuesdays behavior and actions, just completely taking advantage of everyone. I still stand by what I said before. I'd block her for a significant period of time because that is some bullshit. But I know that would cause some drama. I know that would, disrupt people's access to the baby. But I think in this case, you're moving overseas. You're not going to be in touch with the baby all that much anyway, maybe over FaceTime if you want to. But that moving also presents another factor because I think distance makes the heart grow fonder. Maybe if she doesn't have to be in your presence so much and can't expect babysitting of you, she'll be a bit more reasonable to you, though, she might put more expectation on those around her in the meantime. All in all, she sucks as a person. I hope that she wakes up to herself and stops being a see you next Tuesday, but I'm not counting on it. Thanks for the story, OP. Very much appreciated. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.